The world as we know it is filled with several mysteries that we honestly just can't explain. I mean, to this day, we're still trying to figure out the origins of humans as a species and whether aliens are even out there. But even a lot of events that happen on our very planet tend to be rather mysterious. Primarily, we tend to notice the deaths of a lot of popular people as being mysterious. We've got deaths like JFT, Tupac Shakur, and a slew of other notable people that continue to shock us and give us cause to take a step back and reevaluate what we know. In the league of popular people who died mysteriously, Alexandra Petrova's death definitely needs a little bit of examination. Known for her beauty and elegance, Alexandra was very well on her way to becoming the world's next major model. However, her life was snuffed out in the most unceremonious of ways, and to this day, no one really knows what happened to her, nor can we really explain the circumstances that surrounded her death. In this video, we'll look at the life of Alexandra Petrova, as well as her incredibly mysterious demise. Alexandra Petrova was one of those people you just knew had a bright future. Even as a child, it seemed like she already had her calling and was working hard on achieving it. Born Alexandra Valerievna Petrova, Alexandra was birthed in Cheboksary, a city in the Chuvash Autonomous Soviet Socialist Republic. Her parents, Valery Petrov and Tatiana Petrova, were of Russian descent, and they had moved their family to that region just before the fall of the Soviet Union. Like many girls, Alexandra was born in a period when the Russian Federation was still trying to find its stability. She was born in 1980, and the USSR had fallen in 1990, so this was a period of flux for anyone who had claimed their Russian heritage. Nonetheless, Alexandra's parents remained proud, and they worked hard to maintain their status even after the fall of their home country. Their lives would immediately be made better by the birth of Alexandra, a young lady who seemed to immediately have her passions clear. As a little girl, Alexandra immediately grew in love with modeling and dancing, and to be fair, she definitely had the looks for it. By the time she was just 14, Alexandra had already found her passion, modeling. She started studying at the Cheboksary School of Modeling, and in less than a year, she was already a regular at several beauty pageants across the region. With her popularity rising in the city of Cheboksary, Alexandra soon began growing her profile. She represented the city at the Miss Russia 1996 competition, which was held in Veliki Novgorod. For most models and beauty pageant participants, there's a bit of a learning curve. You might not necessarily win your first competition, but as you grow more experience over the subsequent years, it becomes much easier for you to come back in subsequent years and notch a win. For Alexandra, though, there was no need for one. She won her third competition at the age of 16, becoming the youngest woman to ever win the Miss Russia beauty pageant in 1996. During this same reign, Alexandra was also crowned Miss Model International, a title she held for a while, and which had even more critical and international acclaim. Alexandra was said to have been the full package. She had very long, dark hair, which literally ran to her knees, and with her height being about 185 centimeters, you can imagine that she was a completely stunning woman. And it really is no surprise that she immediately caught the eye of scouts and talent agents from the moment she began her modeling career. The interesting thing is that Alexandra herself made a name for taking a rather unconventional path to becoming a top model. Speaking about one of her competitions, her mother once said, "At one of the local Miss Podium competitions, they showed fur coats worn directly on swimsuits. I sat in the hall and watched. All the girls were passing by, throwing their fur coats open, showing off their bodies. And Sasha walked through, all wrapped up. She didn't even open her fur coat. I thought, well, that's it, Shirka. You and I have nothing to do here." And suddenly they announced, "Miss Podium is Alexandra Petrova." She was visible in any crowd. Her reign ended after just 1 year, with Yelena Rogzina eventually becoming her successor. But instead of being bitter, Alexandra was more than happy to crown Yelena, showing that she was also a good sport. By 1997, Alexandra had already begun building her reputation as an all-round entertainer. She appeared in movies, TV shows, and productions, and she even took her career as a photo model more seriously. It was like the world was just getting ready to welcome its latest entertainment icon. Alexandra also toured several countries, taking part in international campaigns. With a gold medal from the World Championships of Art in the model category, she burnished her reputation even more, and things got so heated that she even got offers from Hollywood to star in movies. But because she hadn't turned 18 at the time, she had to mainly turn them down. Besides the fact that she was an astonishing model, Alexandra was also very staunch in her ideals. she was known to stick to her beliefs of positivity, and this was perfectly shown when Ford Models offered her a contract in her prime. The contract would have paid Alexandra a ludicrous sum, but she eventually declined after the company requested that she cut her hair, learn to speak English, and even lose weight. All of these stipulations proved to be too much for Alexandra, especially considering that she had to achieve them in such a short period of time. She eventually declined the offer, choosing instead to remain in her home country and work to build the modeling community there. This effort was especially lauded by many of Alexandra's compatriots, and unlike many models in her category, she apparently spurned the opportunity to achieve international fame in favor of staying in her country and becoming a national treasure. Even with the minimal exposure, Alexandra continued to impress. She managed to represent Russia at the Miss University 1999 pageant, and while she was unplaced, her profile only continued to build. It is worth noting that all of this stuff happened while Alexandra was literally not even 20 years old. She had reached the pinnacle of Russia's modeling and beauty industry, and at this point, it seemed more like there was really nowhere else for her to go but up. Sadly, this would end up being pretty much the end of the road for Alexandra. On September 16, 2000, just 2 days after her 20th birthday, Alexandra was standing outside of her apartment in Cheboksary with her boyfriend Konstantin Chuvalin and his friend Radik Akhmetov. All of a sudden, what was intended as a relaxing time between friends turned into one of the craziest mysteries when random gunshots were heard within the area. When the gunshots stopped, all three of them were dead. Alexandra suffered gunshot wounds to her head, while Konstantin and Radik were also killed in the attack. The death of Alexandra Petrova has remained one of the most significant mysteries in the history of Russia's entertainment industry. She wasn't married, and she didn't have any children, and all through her career, Alexandra carried herself with the type of grace and poise that meant she never had any altercations with anyone. So how could it be that someone had a grudge or wanted to kill her? Some sources claim that the assailant must have wanted to kill Konstantin and that they managed to only hit Alexandra by mistake. The history holds water because, as it would appear, Konstantin was apparently the leader of a local mob. If we know anything about mobs, it's that there is always the risk of being a target by rivals when you're a member. And from what it looks like, Konstantin could have been in a vulnerable position, with Alexandra being nothing more than collateral damage. If this is so, then it definitely was an unfortunate eventuality, as Alexandra became an innocent victim of mob and gang activity. Others believe that it must have been a rival model, or perhaps even a rival modeling agency that ordered the hit on Alexandra, seeing the fact that she had become a big deal and seemingly wanting to stop her rise before she became even more of a household name. Still, this one is a bit of a shocker. Alexandra never exactly had an industry conflict. Alexandra never exactly had any industry conflicts or issues with other models, and all through her career, she carried herself with the respect and poise of a full professional. So, insinuating that she might have had mixed herself up with some rivals is a bit of a stretch. Still, no one really knows. In the aftermath of her death, local authorities launched a wide-ranging investigation into Alexandra's death. But to this day, no one has managed to crack the code as to who it was that pulled the trigger, or who ordered her killing. The mystery has continued to haunt many in Russia, with Alexandra's death essentially being a cold case. And considering the fact that the incident happened over 2 decades ago, it's possible we might never know who ended up pulling off this dastardly act. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed, please be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any more true crime videos. See you in the next one.